earlier in the year, and we've got to be ready for that. There's the obvious. Andrew Luck's a great player. T.Y. Hilton, Ebron's playing at a high level defensively. When you look at their you see Darius and the way he's playing, and their front, Jabal Sheard. They play good team defense. They're very well coached. So we've got to have a real good week here. It's a short week, and we've got to really have a great week.
One of the things that you would want to do to contain Luck is getting. You heard about Brady Luck. Is getting pressure one of those key things?
I think I think at the end of the day, you've got to do the best you can to mix it up, Brian. I think if you think you're going to go into the game with one thought, and that's the thought that's going to win the game, that's probably not the way to go. I think that this guy, he's such a smart guy. He's so competitive. You're not really going to trick him. He's seen it all. He's a very, very alert guy, very focused. He knows what he's looking at. So we've got to do a good job this week of preparing our guys, and then let's go out there and compete at a high level on Saturday.
How much of, you talked about the first two games, how much the way you approach it is relevant to this game?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot that's relevant, Mark. I think that, obviously you're looking at the different players and their skill sets, and you have an idea of how certain players play, and but then you have to look at the scheme, and so, okay, has it, how much has the scheme changed even in the last few weeks since the last time we played them? And then, then there's always going to be things like we have, and they know there's things that we do, kind of like the phrase, you do what you do. They have those things too, so you've got to be ready for those. But there's definitely some things that they know how certain players for us play, and we know how certain players for them play, and then we just have to do as good a job as we can adjusting during the game.
I know that Sean was successful running the football. Some years, what do you think about how much he ran, and what do you think about that going forward?
I think it's great. I think he's a dynamic player. I think he does an excellent job understanding what the front is, what the look is, what the pass rush is. Certainly took some hits that, maybe we want to try to control those, but there's other times where he did a great job sliding or ducking out of bounds, and I think it's good for our team when the ball is in his hands.
The Colts front, when you look at the last time you played them, they seem like they definitely try to crowd the box.
Yeah.
And teams have done that since. Is there something that started that week, just from what you saw, the way the Colts attacked you, or is it kind of
I mean, most teams play us in a lot of post safety. They really do, Aaron. I mean, very few teams play us in too deep. And so that's kind of what I take when you say crowd the box. When there's a safety in the middle of the field, and you basically have a 7 or 8 man box depending on your formation. That's what most teams do to us. And we try to scheme for that, and we try to do the best job we can, and make sure our players understand what it is, and we've got to really grind on that, over the next few days here, and make sure that we put as good a game plan together as we can.
Add additional challenges when you're facing a team multiple times in the same season?
I think it's always challenging to play a team 3 times. I'm glad it's at home. I think that's a big deal that we're at home. I know our crowd's going to be into it, and we have the best crowd in the NFL. And so, I think that's a big deal. But it's always hard to play a team for a third time, because, you've just got to understand, look, at the end of the day, we've got to do what's right for our team, and not block a lot of ghosts, if that makes sense, And so just do the best you can to put together as good a game plan as you can for your team.
You talked a lot about Deshaun being a winner, and obviously he won at the highest level in college. Are you eager to see how he'll perform in the playoff game? I mean, this is the highest level in the NFL. So.
Yeah, no, he's excited. I mean, he's it is the highest level. It is a new season. The playoffs in the NFL are a totally different ball game than the regular season. Like, there's no doubt about that. But he's played well for us on big stages. He's played well on Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night. He loves it. He wants that. That's why, for him personally, I don't want to speak for him because I'm sure you'll ask him, but it just seems to me that he has a lot of fun on those nights, on those days. And, he's done that his whole career. He did that on big stages at Clemson. And, I know he's looking forward to the game on Saturday.
He's pulling the ball and running as effectively as he did yesterday. What does does that then do for Lamar or another running back when he decides to hit it after?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it the whole thing. I don't want to like I was kind of trying to say last night to John. I really don't want to get into all the schematics of it, but everything that we do, we try to mix and match as best we can, if that makes sense.
Which is a change for a game of this magnitude, playing on Saturday as opposed to playing normally on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shorter week. I'm glad we had a home game yesterday. Our guys are in here right now. We have like a recovery type workout for them, but it's definitely a shorter week. So there's that fine line. Somebody was just asking me the same question on the radio show. It's a fine line. We're a physical team. We need to be physically ready. There's nothing more important than the health of our football team on Saturday afternoon. So that's the big thing, is making sure that everybody's ready to go, that whoever's on that 46-man roster feels good physically, and they come out of that gate ready to go, because it's going to take everything that we have to physically and mentally to beat the Colts.
That Week 4 game at Indy, overtime, you guys win 9 straight off of that. I mean, it obviously could have gone another way. It could have been a tie. It's a tie and a big if, but this game would be in Indy. Does it feel like, looking back, that you just needed to break this season, and that game did kind of get you guys going, and that's a reminder how tough this league can be?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great football game. I mean, it came down to, obviously that situation, overtime. I mean, but there were a lot of plays that led up to that. But I do think at that point in time we needed a win. I mean, I don't think anybody around there wanted to go to 0-4. You know what I mean? And so we needed a win, and we had to find a way. And we were able to find a way, and it was a great game. We have. I would say the only way to say this is we have a great deal of respect for the Colts, for the way that Frank Reich coaches, the type of team that Chris Ballard's put together, the way that they play. Andrew Luck. You just watch Andrew Luck play. He has great respect for the game. We like guys that respect the game, and he really does. And then you watch how they, just their team plays. They're very well coached, and we knew that to be able to come out on the winning end of that game was a big thing for us. But that's a long time ago. Like I said, the teams have evolved over time, so it's kind of a new ball game now.
Seen Brian Baltimore out, especially with Jack Wall being out.
Yeah, very athletic guy, great hands, very good instinctive route runner, red area threat, got a bunch of touchdowns in the red zone. Very hard guy to match up against. I mean, how do you match up with him? I mean, you don't really have anybody as big as him, so you've got to figure out different ways to mix it up on him. But he's a tough matchup.
You've been here. There have been games where y'all have shut down Hilton, not this year. What's been the difference this year in that 314 yards? Is it close to pass?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's a great player, John. He's got a great ability to make a lot of routes look the same, if that makes sense. He's an incredible route runner. He runs them all at the same speed, breaks in, breaks out, runs posts, runs comebacks, runs slants, runs short routes, deep routes, intermediate routes. I mean, he can do it all. He's got great hands. He's a very instinctive guy. So, we just got to do the best we can. I think that we got to play good team defense and do the best we can. You're not going to, hold him to no yards receiving. I mean, that's especially like with the rules the way they are. You can't hit a guy after 5 yards. So, that's virtually impossible. But you've got to try to control what we call the X plays, the plays, the 80-yard bombs and things like that. So we'll do the best we can.
Joseph said feels better about his chance after being held out last week. He thinks that he's a chance.
Yeah, that was a tough decision yesterday. Met with the doctors and J. Joe, and J. Joe's he's just a great guy. He's been doing this a long time. We felt like, I think anytime you're dealing with injuries, no matter what type of injury it is, what's best for the player. We felt like yesterday it was best for him to have the day off, so hopefully he'll be trending towards being able to play this week.
Is there a shot that QT could play for you?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think he's trending that way. I mean, I think there's a shot. We got to see how he looks in practice on a day-to-day basis, but there's a shot there.
Back in the season, you started 0-3. There were some fans that are panicked, they're frustrated. I talked to some today, they're happy. They're still not incredibly confident moving into the postseason. What do you say to these fans, especially after you pull off the season you're able to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, look, we were 0-3. I'm not, like I've always said, I've always said how much I love the Houston fans. I mean, all I can tell you is we've gone 11-2 over the last 13 weeks. This team, one of the few teams to come back from 0-3 and to qualify for the playoffs and win the division. We got a good, tough football team. We got a lot of guys that care about each other and play hard. So, I mean, we're not looking for train riders. We're looking for the loyal fans that have been with us the whole time, and we'll be ready to go on Saturday.
Excited about a home game. You're 1-4 versus the Colts at home. What do you do differently knowing that you have that history with them?
Yeah, no, I think it's good that we are at home. I think that we have I think it's good for a lot of reasons, but on a short week, and then obviously most importantly is playing in front of your home crowd. I mean, I think that's a good thing for us because we have a great home crowd. So we're looking forward to playing in front of them.
Coach, so much of the playoffs is mental toughness. You guys are 0-3. You went 11-2 from there, as you said. The Colts were 1-5.
Yeah.
The mental toughness of both teams isn't really in question. How challenging is this going to be? I know every game's challenging, but particularly with the mental fortitude both these teams have shown.
No doubt. I mean, it's the mental toughness of both teams is evident. To be 1-5 and to be where they are now, and then for us to be 0-3. I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's why it's going to be a huge battle, and our guys know that. It's going to come down to takeaways, giveaways. It's going to come down to penalties. It's going to come down to who can execute at the highest level, and we know it's going to be a huge challenge for us.
This a few times now, and
Yeah.
how much do you think it helps? And obviously Romeo's in this forever, but your staff, in terms of preparation and knowing just how much this week is very different than a regular season week.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, because we've been down this road a number of times. So, we've won 3 AFC South championships here, and so we've been in playoffs 3 times here. And then, like you said, Rack, Brad Seeley, been in a lot of playoff games. They've been to, I don't know, what is it, 8 Super Bowls, I think, Rack and Brad. So they've been in a lot of playoff games. So, I think that helps. But at the end of the day, really what that helps with is kind of the schedule of the week and things like that. It's not, when it comes down to game day, it's all about, getting your team to execute at the highest level. So that's really what it's about is making sure that we're ready to go when the Colts arrive.
Speaking of Seeley, he hasn't gotten a lot of attention, but you guys have improved in every category. Special teams, what is he and his assistants? What have they meant to you being left by?
I mean, I give them a ton of credit. I mean, I probably should do it more. I mean, between the players and the coaching staff, those guys have really done so much to help us get to this point. I think our special teams is much improved. And Brad's helped me in a lot of different ways. Situational football, we've been pretty good all year in situations, usage of timeouts, yesterday the game was 20-3. So, maybe some people would think the game was over, but we had I think a 13 or 14 play drive, 6-minute drive to end the game. So, that's good situational football. We practice that all the time. Brad helps with that, So there's a lot of things that he does outside of special teams, and then obviously his main job is special teams, and they've really been an improved unit.
You mentioned earlier about Saturday game. You've already played one on Saturday on the road.
Yeah.
You played on Thursday, Monday. Does getting off the schedule during the regular season help you with a time like that?
I think it's kind of like I was saying about the guys that have playoff experience. I mean, just from a schedule standpoint, I think it helps. That how the week's going to go. That basically Tuesday's like a Wednesday's like a Thursday, Friday's like a Saturday. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how it goes, and I think everybody understands that. Players want a routine, and so we've already been in this routine for a week. So the difference is it's a home game, and so we keep our routine kind of the same.
Given what y'all gone through with this organization off the field and your family, how special was it for you to give the game off?
Yeah, very special. I mean, I think that means a lot. That Cal and Bob, have supported us so much, and then obviously the passing of Bob was a tough day, a tough deal for this organization. So to be able to give the game ball, I mean, you look at what's happening today. Coaches are getting fired. This is a bottom line business, and they've stuck with us here, and we appreciate that. And I don't think there was anybody better to give the game ball to yesterday than Cal McNair and the McNair family.
Thank you.